Today I'm going to show you how to make baked cinnamon apples. I'm using Jonagold apples that I picked up at the orchard as seconds. You can get seconds really affordably this time of year. Pretty cheap. And then we're going to I have a few ingredients in my baked apples. I know a lot of people just make them with apples and cinnamon, or apples, cinnamon, and a little bit of sugar. But I'm using sort of it's a spin-off of my pie filling that I really like to use. So you could even use this as a pie filling, but it makes delicious baked apples. A delicious side dish for Thanksgiving, for any fall party, even Christmas. It's delicious. So let's go through the rest of the ingredients beyond the apples, and then we'll talk about the best kind of apples to use. So we've got a 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm just using pure cane sugar. You can use granulated sugar. Got a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. We've got a tablespoon of cornstarch, and I've made sure that it's gluten-free since I have to eat gluten-free. I've got a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, 2 tablespoons of sour cream, and a tablespoon of lemon juice. And then we're going to have 2 tablespoons of salted butter. But I have that in the fridge right now because it needs to stay cold, because we're just going to slice it on top of the apples. Now let's talk about the best kinds of apples to use. I'm using Jonagold. I've used my mom's apples that come off her tree, and we're not sure what kind they are, but they have a sweet, tarty taste to them. Some of the other apples you can use beyond Jonagold, you could use Golden Delicious, you could use Jonathan. They'll be really a little more tart, but they'd be really good. You could use Rome, Honeycrisp, Granny Smith, Brayburn, Northern Spy, and Empire. Those are just a few of the kinds of apples that would make good baked apples. You want an apple that is a little bit sweet and a little bit tart, or I do. You might want a more tart apple like Granny Smith. It's totally up to your taste buds. Our next step is to get our apples cored and peeled and sliced, and we're going to do that using my handy dandy apple peeler that I've used in many of my recipes, from apple pie to apple crumble, apple crisp, apple butter, all those different recipes. So let's get these apples prepped and ready. This is my apple peeler. You can move it in and out, and you want to take the stem end of your apple and just push it up on that peeler, and then you can take it forward till it hits this part. So this is the part that's going to peel your apple, and this is the part that will core and slice your apple for you. So here we go. And just pull it back, and your core will fall right off. It's so easy. It makes all those apple recipes so much easier to make and so much quicker. Now you just want to cut out any bad spots. I focus on the rotten spots and if there's any stems or seeds. Alright, so that one looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and just trim it into the dish. And we're going to need 6 cups of apples, or about 6 cups. Doesn't have to be exact. I usually just take these apples and just slice them in half like that, and that makes the perfect slices for baked apples or pie filling or whatever I'm making. That looks like a wormhole. Now you can leave the peeling on these, but I just like to take the peeling off. But you can leave it on, you'll get more nutrients that way. Well, I think I'm going to have too many apples here, so we'll get to eat some. Okay, I've got more than enough apples now, so I'm just going to set these to the side and we'll eat on them today. Put them in the fridge. They'll be tasty. Now we're going to mix up the dry ingredients. We're going to start with a 1/4 cup of sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, light brown sugar, a tablespoon of cornstarch, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And we're just going to mix that up really good. Just toss it around until it's mixed well. It might be even better to just give it a good whisking. Then you can for sure get all those little lumps out. Sometimes brown sugar can have little lumps. Alright, that looks pretty good. In my big bowl, I'm going to add 6 cups of apples. Or about 6 cups. Then you're going to add that sugar mixture that we just mixed up. We're going to add the 2 tablespoons of sour cream. And then a tablespoon of lemon juice. Then you're going to mix that up really good. Now there are things that you could add into these. Yeah, I mean really the sky's the limit on optional add-ins for this recipe. You could add raisins, dried cranberries, a little bit of oatmeal, so you'd make sort of a little bit of kind of an apple crisp. If you're a fan of nuts, you could add in chopped pecans, chopped walnuts, even some black walnuts maybe. And you could add almonds. There's really a lot of things that you can do to this recipe to kind of change it up and suit it to your own tastes. Alright, I think we've got that mix pretty good. Now we're going to put it in our baking dish and get it ready to go in the oven. Now you're just going to put your apples right into your baking dish. I do like to grease the baking dish just so nothing sticks. And you'll have quite a bit of juice in the bottom of the bowl. Depending on your apples, some apples don't juice up as much. But the sugar and everything together really gives these apples a nice juice. Just spread these apples out in your dish really well. I think these look pretty good. It's loaded up. I'm using, this is a 7 to 9 inch baking dish. It's a smaller one. It's perfect for a side dish, like baked apples. Then you're just going to take 2 tablespoons of butter and just kind of slice them over the top of your apples. And there we go. Once you have your apples in the baking dish, now you're ready to bake them. You want to bake them at 375 for about 30 to 45 minutes or until they're nice and bubbly and tender when you poke them with a fork. About halfway through baking, just make sure you kind of toss them around a little bit and give them a little bit of a stir because they might want to stick to the bottom just a little bit. So if you give them a toss, that'll help them, and it'll help them cook cook better too. So I'm going to pop these in the oven and then we're going to enjoy them. Baked apples, and this makes a really good pie filling too, by the way. I think I already mentioned that. Now you can put a scoop of ice cream on top, like I like to do, or you could crumble some cookies on top, sugar cookies. You could put whipped cream. There's so many things you can do with baked apples, and they're so good. They're good as a side dish or a dessert. If you like this recipe, be sure and like, follow, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Okay. Is she on the counter? Molly! You're not supposed to be up there. Come on.